On the China issue, you spent quite a bit of your speech talking about China. It's very interesting. You said, we win, they lose. That has to be the approach. You mentioned MFN status. We still have most favored nation status. Some people would argue that permanent normal trade relations with China were one of the biggest mistakes, or perhaps World Trade Organization accession and so forth. Traditionally, human rights have been linked to trade, or trade has been linked to human rights. Would you support that kind of an approach? I mean, we have a situation where the U.S. government says that China is committing at least one genocide. You know, former Assistant Secretary of State will say there's 3. So how do we deal with this human rights trade issue?
Well, first, I think just identifying what you said, that those policies were with MFN and WTO, those policies failed. I mean, let's just be honest. If you look at you go read Bill Clinton's speech when he was signing the MFN and the WTO stuff, and you read what he said, almost everything he said turned out to be bogus. I mean, almost none of it actually happened. And China has used that wealth that we've basically bequeathed to them to build up a very powerful military. So, and yes, I think human rights, it's something that's good to stand for. What is the concrete interest? I do think it informs a concrete interest, because this is one of the great weaknesses of the CCP. What they're trying to export around the world ultimately is something that is going to suffocate human freedom. Their vision is a dystopian vision. And to the extent we're highlighting that, not just in the political sphere, but economic sphere, I think that that's important. Make no mistake, if they end up the dominant power in this world, if they dominate the Indo-Pacific and they dominate global commerce, they are going to be conditioning behavior for access to their markets that they control. And there's going to be a lot of Americans that will grovel on Wall Street and Hollywood. They already grovel, but it will get much worse. And you will feel this in your daily life if it gets to that point in the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades.